I'm Evelien van den Broek. I'm a composer of mostly electronic music and a singer, performer as well. I compose music for different media, for sound installations, for instance, or my own music projects, which I perform live. I also compose for modern dance and film and theater. Yeah, it's one of my latest projects. It is a concert, so a live performance, but also I've made a record of it, a studio record. It is a project about mass extinction, for which I used field recordings of endangered and extinct animals and I combined them with new music. So in these recordings, you can really hear about the state of nature, actually. And it was really fascinating to me because it's such a different way to experience this huge problem we have. You can read about it in articles, but when you hear the actual impact of humans on nature, it's really such an enormous experience when you listen to those recordings. For instance, of the rainforest of Bernie Krause. He's made recordings for 50 years in nature. So I used his recordings of rainforest before and after clear cut. So you hear the emptiness afterwards, or of the last male northern white rhino, which got extinct in March 2018. So I have the actual recording of this last male of the species. And I have recordings of the kwai bird, which is also extinct. So I use these recordings in a new sound or music performance and combine them with live electronics and synthesizers and solo trumpet. We've performed a couple of times with this project, and then Corona came, and unfortunately a lot of them got cancelled. But then I also decided to work on the album of this project. Yeah, I'm just really worried about the way we humans treat the nature and the earth, and yeah, I just wanted to see what I could do with this subject from the perspective of a composer or sound artist. Also because it's really a different way to experience what is happening. So yeah, that's why I was so really worried about this project, that I wanted to see what I could do with that in a music or sound way. Yeah. Yeah. There are some different ways. One of them is that I contacted scientists and or sound artists. For instance, this rainforest I got from Bernie Krause. I was talking about him before, who's been making these recordings for 50 years. So I wrote to him. I wrote an email. He's got this organization called Wild Sanctuary. I just explained about the project I wanted to do, and he sent me some of the files so I could see which one would fit best. And then I used this Costa Rica rainforest. And another one about the rhino, I contacted a scientist who's been studying these rhinos for years, and she studied the communication between the rhinos, and so she had some recordings of especially this last male that existed. Contacted her, and then she sent me some stuff, and then the other ones I got online from sound archives. You have the Cornell lab, they have a lot of bird recordings, so I got one of the recordings from them. So I collected them from online archives. Yeah, it was a big part of the beginning of the project, to find them and to do research and think about how to integrate them. I wanted to use animals from, like, one from the sky, one from the earth, and one from the water, and then from tiny to huge. So that's kind of the way I picked or chose the animals. Yeah, well, the most difficult, I mean, she did reply pretty quickly, which was really nice. I was so happy that I got into contact with these people. The only a bit more complicated thing with her was that most of the time she was in the bush somewhere in Africa. She didn't always have an internet connection. So at one point I had to wait a little bit before she was able to send me some material. So it took a little bit of time. And other ones were a bit easier. I could just go to an archive and select the file. I think, that is a person who records a lot of sounds in nature, and these recordings are used to indicate, let's say, the health of the natural environment. It's a new kind of a medium that is being used in this field of ecology. So that's really interesting, I think, that this can be used in this way. It's relatively new, I think. So a lot of ecologists, biologists are making recordings worldwide and collecting a lot of material and analyzing that. Another thing Bernie Krause did, he wrote a book about, which is called The Great Animal Orchestra, in which he kind of analyzes the natural sounds as well and explains that, for instance, in a rainforest, each creature has its own place in the spectrum, the frequency spectrum, in order to hear the other animals in the species. So it is like an orchestra with different groups in the sound or frequency spectrum. And that's something he discovered while he was making all these recordings and listening to his environment. Yeah, it was not a collaboration, a real collaboration in the sense that we worked together on this project. It is more that I talked to him about my project and he talked to me a little bit about his work, and also just about the impact of climate change on his private life, for instance, because he lives in California with his wife and his studio is there, and it completely burned down during one of the big fires, forest fires there. So we talked a little bit about our work, we emailed a bit, and then he sent me his files. So and from there that was it. So then I could do with them what I wanted. So yeah, it is. I just hope it provides kind of a different way for the audience as well to realize what is happening with nature, to really be in the middle of these soundscapes or sound worlds. When I perform this live, I also use 4 speakers, so it really is like you're inside this rainforest, or it is like this rhino is just passing you and you hear it. So I hope it just brings this subject a little bit closer to people, and just realize the seriousness of it again, but also hear the beauty of nature in the sounds and the music as well. I guess it depends on the energy or emotion that is needed for a project. So, well, for instance, Biophonica, I also wanted to have this really aggressive destruction element in there, or the loss. So then there's at least one part of it that has really extreme electronic beats and distortion. So that's really more kind of a wall of sound. So then I use more of that, of this genre, like electronic dance music. Mm-hmm. Or for a dance performance, maybe it would be more in the direction of soundscapes, so a bit more intimate or introvert or quiet. It depends on the mood or energy that fits a project. Yeah. Yeah, I do actually. I do really like that I work in different kind of fields, because I like to change. It's a completely different way of working, and I just like to have this variation. Yeah, I really like doing my own projects for live performance. That's one of the things I like best. But when I've done one of those projects, I'm also really happy to just start working on a dance performance or a sound installation as well. yeah, so at the moment I'm working at a sound installation, and the end of last year I worked on a dance performance. I just really like to have these different kind of media and collaborations, and sometimes just work by myself as well. So yeah, I like to have the different kind of projects. Yeah, the next project I'm working on, or I've actually already started working on, is ecognosis, if I pronounce it correctly, which is an animation stop motion installation made by Between Two Hands. It's an art collective. They've made these beautiful stop motion films, and they will project them on paper objects they build themselves, and it actually kind of fits really well with the Biophonica project I did, because the theme there is our impact as humans on nature, and what would nature look like after humans are gone. So they've made these films, stop motion films of little plants or insects or moss, or they will use this in their installation, and I'm asked to join them to make soundscapes for this installation. So that's something I'm working on for the next couple of weeks, months. And then I like to make a new EP this year, so I will work on that, on my own music. And there's a dance performance which we already started working on, but we had to stop because of COVID, and then we will hopefully be able to finish this somewhere this year and have a premiere as well. So I compose for the modern dance piece.